Hello, people. I'm back again. We're gonna have our another video with some advanced part two. So the thing is, I was looking again at the content, and um, I see that it's still a lot of things that we need to cover, and I didn't want it to make the videos too fast and try to explain fast, just for the sake of saving time, because I think some of these formulas they start to get very complicated from now on. But still, it's very easy to be done. So basically, today we're gonna be covering the advanced part two, and we're gonna have an advanced part three. You probably saw this link already. I sent on the email, and then we're gonna have two more. So basically, for this part two and part three, we're gonna have another workshop which I want to book on 28th, which, if I'm not mistaken, is next Tuesday. Yeah, at 7. And then again, it's the same thing. It's not gonna be. I'm not gonna bring any content there. It's just gonna be for us to practice all of these concepts. And of course, if you didn't join this one, you can still join this one as long as you watch all the videos before. I'm gonna give you some challenges there, and we're gonna spend some time doing some Excel. So pretty much, yeah, today we're gonna cover if unique index and match and rank. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I need to spend some time to explain these things because um, they are a little bit complex. But once you get to understand it becomes very easy, but you just need to pay some attention to understand. Again, I'm making the video format because you guys gave the feedback that it was good, and it's good because if you already know any of these formulas, you can just jump the video, and yeah, it's a video, it's recorded. So just one thing I wanted to explain before, down here, as you can see, there's a keyboard, and whenever you see this thing here clicking, can you see clicking? That's my left click. And whenever you see this one here, yeah, that's the right click. So right click, left click, right click, left click, just in case you are lost and you don't know what I'm doing. Hopefully the keyboard's gonna work now. Yeah, it's working. Okay, so let's start. So we have the five topics. Let's start with the if. So the if formula is something you're gonna use a lot because it's a very versatile formula. You can do whatever you want with it, and it's very useful to a lot of things. How does it work? Pretty much, you can create create yes, you can create a condition in a specific cell, that if another cell shows this condition, then that one cell shows what you want. So here I broke down the formulas. So I put it like each part of the argument in a separate cell. But of course, when you're making the formula, everything should be on the same cell. And I'm going to give some examples also because these formulas, it's very difficult for me to explain. It's much easier for you to see how it works in practice. So feel free to test there as well in your Excel. But pretty much like everything starts with if, and then you open the brackets. Then here you're gonna put the cell that you are looking at. So for example, here I'm in the cell D5. So it's not the D5 that I want, but let's say I want, depending on the cell B5, I want something to show on D5. So then here I'm gonna put B5, B like balloon. uh, and then you have to tell exactly what do you expect from that cell, if it's like equal to something, or if this cell should be bigger than some value or should be smaller than some value. uh, and then you add exactly like so, like for example b5 equal to something equal to banana, for example. I love saying about banana. And then you just put a comma. So here you created, you made the formula identify where you should be looking at and the condition. But then here's what's gonna happen in case the condition is fulfilled. So here you're gonna put a comma, and then what should show instead. So don't worry if you didn't understand yet. I'm gonna show the examples. It's probably gonna be more clear. But here, like, it can be like equal, bigger, smaller, or even like equal, bigger equal, or smaller equal to. And let me show some examples so that it's a bit more easy to understand. So I'm here on the N11. Let me lower it down a bit. Let me zoom in a bit. So I'm here on the N11, and let's say equal if the M11 is equal to banana, then I put the comma, and now I put the what I want to show instead. So I don't know, I'll put fruit. Yep. So as you can see, like, if I change this, it's not gonna show anything. It's gonna show false because this condition is not true, so it's false. But if somewhere here there is banana, then it's gonna show fruit. I think if you don't want to show false, okay, let me not complicate stuff. Let me explain the rest first. Then the same thing here. And something you can do, you don't need to type apple. So for example, if and oh no, actually you need to type apple. No, let's say I don't want to type. I want to do a different example. So if M12 is equal to M10, then I want to show this text. This is a fruit. So it's showing false because it's not true, right? But if I write here banana, then it's gonna show this is a fruit. Because again, I identified the cell, I put the condition, and I put what should happen in case that condition happens. Oh, what's happening? Okay, good. Now let me show some examples with numbers. So again, if this cell, let's say it's no, let's not let's it's bigger than 40%, then shows good boy. Yeah, so this can be any number. This can be 45%. This can be 80%. As long as it's bigger than 50%, it's gonna show good boy. But if it's less, then it's gonna show false. So the thing is, in case you are confused about this sign, and in case you don't remember this when you were studying math, so this is like, this thing here is like, it shows that something is bigger or smaller than the other. I also don't know if I'm using the proper words, but English is not my main language. But some very big tip for you to understand and never forget is for like how to know which one is bigger, which one is smaller. Is that imagine this is a crocodile mouth that is open like this. So the bigger part of the mouth, so the part that the mouth is open, whatever is in that side means that that's bigger than what's on the other side. But if I do like this, so then the body of the crocodile, like the neck of the crocodile, not the mouth open, like the smaller part, is on the side of this cell. This means this cell is smaller. So again here I changed. So here I'm saying that if the cell is smaller than 40%. So only if I put here less than 40%. And you can do the same thing. Let me do again here. If this cell is smaller or equal to, let's say, 90%, then it's gonna show crocodile. Yep, so you can use the smaller or equal or minor, I don't know how to say, So then everything that is smaller, so if I put 80% is gonna show crocodile. If I put 90% it's still gonna show crocodile. But if I put 91% it's not gonna show anymore. Yep. So yeah, this is some examples about how to use if. But yeah, sometimes we don't use just if. I'll zoom out a bit. This is a big one. So you can use if for multiple conditions. And you're gonna see it's pretty easy. Because if you notice this is exactly the same thing that is up here. It's exactly the same thing. The difference is that after you finish, if you want to put another condition, you just start again. And this again, it's the same thing that is here. So basically you can do the formula and then you do the formula again and then you do the formula again. The difference is that in the end you need to close the brackets for all the times that you use if. So if you put 6 conditions, you're probably gonna have to put 6 brackets to close everything. Let me show you some example. But yeah, here it's exactly the same that is up there. Let me show some example. Zoom in. So I want to put the one formula that is relevant to all of these values at the same time. I don't, because sometimes we just have a lot of values and we cannot spend time creating one formula per each, right? So I'm gonna start here. If this one R27 is bigger, smaller, is smaller or equal to 20%, then I want you to show me A. Then I'm gonna put another comma, and I'm gonna type if again. You don't need to put the equal sign this time, you just type if again. So if R27 again is smaller or equal to 50%, then you're gonna show me B. Oh, I forgot. Since I want this to be a text, I should be putting these things here. Yeah, this. Okay, now it's gonna work. I put another comma. If again R27 is smaller or equal to 80%, then I want you to show me C. Another comma. If again R27 is smaller or equal to 100%. Then I want to show me D. So see, I opened a lot of brackets, but I never closed them. Honestly, like if you want, you can just click enter, and Excel is gonna fix it for you. See, now there are like 4 brackets closing here. But I don't know if you want to learn, and this doesn't work with all of the formulas. If your formula is very complex and you really need to mess with the brackets, it's not that simple like this one. You need to do it manually. So I suggest if you're starting Excel now, you should always do manually, because yeah, this is not always gonna work. I'm talking about the fact that I'd never added this, but it's showing here now. Yeah, now what I can do, I can just drag down, and there you go. So if you're confused about what happened, is I created the conditions, multiple conditions, only using if, and I predicted every possible situation that can happen here. Let's say if I put 101%, then it's gonna be false, because I didn't predict the situation here. But yeah, something you can do in these cases, maybe you can put like, no, never mind. Yeah, so pretty much I hope you could understand. Let me show another example in a way that you don't need to type this 80%. Oh, what did I do? I don't want to do this. Okay. So I'm gonna show just a slightly different example. So I want to do the same thing. I want to predict everything that can happen in this column. So here we go again. If this number is smaller or equal to 20%, then I wanted to show this. So see, you don't need always to just put a phrase here or a word. You can actually link it to another cell and it's gonna work. And then I'm gonna do it again. If R33 is smaller or equal to 50%, then I wanted to show boom boom, comma. Again, if R33 is smaller or equal to, let's put 80%, and I want to show this, chakalakalaka. And again, if R33 is smaller or equal to 100%, then it's gonna show damn. So something I want to do here, I want to lock, because I want to be able to drag down this formula and I want it to still show the same things. Because if I drag down, let me show the bad example. So if I drag down, do you see that the pitch word is on the P33? And here in the formula shows P33. But if I drag down, now it shows P34. Now it shows P35. So as you can see, that didn't work so well. So what I want to do, I just need to lock the lines. So I'm just gonna put the money symbol between the column and the line, before the line. So if you want to lock the line, before the line. If you want to lock the column, you could lock it like this, but I don't want right now. Yep. And there you go. So this is very helpful, for example, when you have a lot of data and then you want to edit this and you want everything here to change accordingly. So this way you just need to edit one cell, like here, allo kim. So now everything that is based following these conditions are gonna follow whatever you put here. So this is very useful for you to save some work. Cool. So this is about if. I hope it's clear. If it's not, join the consultancy space. We can talk more about it. Let's go to some if. So for the people who are in the consultancy space, I explained a bit of some if. Because in my memory I thought it was very similar to the count if, but I decided to explain again because now I'm gonna show the difference between some if and some ifs with an S here, as you can see, the red S. So this is very important because the way you use these two formulas are slightly different. Like, of course, the way you use it are different, but the way you write them is also different. So it's a bit, maybe you get a bit confused, but as long as you practice, you're gonna get used to it. So let's start with some if. So yeah, what is some if? So it basically, when you have a column, I only used with columns, I never used with lines, but usually makes sense to use with columns. But maybe a line it also can work. You just need to change the logic. Everything that I explained, which is horizontal, you think vertically, and the opposite as well. But basically you have a column with numbers that you want to sum, but you only want to sum based on some specific condition. So the most simple example I could think of, so imagine this is your monthly expenses. So this is your yearly expenses, that is like divided by month. But then there's a lot of things here, like the market I went, the apartment, electricity bill, my partying with VN, internet, team space, pizza night. So there's a lot of very different things, but I can categorize these things into four major things, which is food, rent, bills, and party. But how can I sum in a very easy way how much did I spend for food in total? How much did they spend for rent in total? So it's not just come here and type like sum. It's not gonna work because that way you're gonna sum everything, but you're not gonna be able to know food specifically. So don't need to look at this. I'm gonna explain this later. But let's look at here first. So the sum if pretty much this is the formula again. So equals sum if open brackets. So first you're gonna put the range of the criteria. So for example here, like these are the column that has all my criterias. You're gonna put a comma, and you're gonna put the cell, or you can just type the value that represents your criteria. So for example, if I'm doing the formula here, I'm gonna put this cell here, because then it's gonna be able to find, here it says food, so it's gonna look for food here. Don't worry, I'm gonna make an example later, maybe it's gonna be easier. Then you put another comma, and you put the range of the things that needs to be summed. So for example here are the prices, right? So every time that there is food here, it's gonna sum this value, but it's not gonna sum this, not gonna sum this, not gonna sum this, but it's gonna sum this because it's food again. So let me show an example. So don't need to look at these green things as well, because this is for the next example. So yeah, here the sum, the formula is already done, but let me do it again. So equals sum if open brackets. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select all the categories, right? Then I'm gonna put a comma. Something I'm gonna do since now, I'm gonna lock it, because I want to drag down this formula. So I want to make sure it's already locked, so that later I don't need to go back and fix it. Food, right? I'm looking for food, and this one I don't need to lock, because when I drag down here, I wanted to look at rent, I wanted to look at bills, I wanted to look at party, so it's not a problem if this age 18 changes. And then another comma, and then let me put the values again, let me close, and let me lock again, lock, done. So here now I know exactly how much did I spend with food, and I can just drag it down, and as you can see, it's still taking the same ranges because I locked, but it's looking at the rent, now it's looking at the bills, now it's looking at the parties, and yeah, I pretty much know all my expenses in total. Great, I hope that that was clear, but you sometimes that's not enough, right? Because imagine the here, if I not just want to know the total, but I also want to know per month. So how can you put multiple criteria? So basically you need to sum only the values that says food and that says January. And you don't want to know the food which is February, you just want to know the food which is January. So that is the sum ifs with the S here. So now we can look at this part. And first, the only thing that changes before the range that needs to be summed, it was the last thing, right? So first you put the range of the criteria, then you put the criteria itself, then you put all the values. This was the last thing in the formula, right? So for the sum ifs, now this is gonna be the first thing. So the first thing you're gonna put is the things that need to be summed. You put a comma, and then you start putting the criterias, and you put criterias, how many infinite criterias if you want, you can put how many criterias you wish, and you just separate them by commas. So first you put the range of the criteria, like where is it supposed to be found, and then you put the criteria specifically, and then you put the range again, and then you put the criteria specifically, always separating with commas. So let me show the example here. Zoom in a bit less. So yeah, let me zoom in less. I hope the keyboard is not in front. Yeah, the keyboard is fine. Okay, sum ifs. Don't forget the S here. Can you see the S? So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the range of the values. And again, oops. Let's put a comma, but again, I want to lock this. Let me lock, because this is never gonna change. Even, and again, I want to be able to drag down. And actually I want to be able to copy and paste as well. So I put the range, the things that will be summed, and now let me start putting the criteria then. So let me select this range, and then let me select that is about the food. Again, let me lock this, lock, lock. I'm gonna put another comma. Now let's look at the other criteria, which are the months, comma, and I wanted to take this month up here. So as you can see, I'm doing the bad example. I'm merging the cells, but it's okay. Close it. Let me just lock this final thing here. And I want to lock the month as well. So I'm gonna lock everything on the month. Because when I drag it down, I don't want the month to change. And there you go. So I can just drag it down and I know exactly how much did I spend for everything on the month of January. Is it correct? Let me see. Yes. And actually I can just take this formula, I'm gonna copy and I'm gonna paste in February. I still need to change something, which is the month. So the month is still taking here the age 23 and now I'm just gonna change to February. I'm gonna lock again and there you go. I'm gonna drag again. So do you see how useful it is to lock the stuff, because I can just copy and paste a lot of things and it still works. So yep, I basically used multiple criteria to sum whatever I wanted to sum, and in a very easy way I can split and I can sum. You can even check, like let's check February. February is around 900k, so let's just look at February. Where is food? Food here 654 plus 250, that's like 70k, 8 9, yeah, 900 something, exactly what we have here, 907. So yeah, it's totally correct. I hope it was clear. Then let's go to the next one, this unique formula. So for those who were in the workshop, you also know that I explained this there. And I'm just going to explain here in case people were not in the last workshop. But because this is a very simple formula. So basically, let's say you have a list of things which sometimes the things repeat, as you can see here, banana repeating many times, apple repeating many times. And to give a more practical example, sometimes you have all your signups from OGX, OGV, or OGE, and you have a list of them, and then you have the universities. But of course, if people sign up from the same university, it's gonna show the university many times. But sometimes you're lazy, and instead of you just looking one by one and you want to know what are the universities that have signups, instead of you looking one by one, you can use this formula. So you're just gonna type unique, and then you're gonna select the entire range here. So this is the range. I'm gonna click enter, and this is what happens. So this formula shows me all the values but without repeating them. So it doesn't matter how many times it shows apple here, it's only gonna show apple once. Pear, watermelon, and banana. So just something to notice, you only need to put in the first cell. So for example here, I just put it on the top and down here updated automatically. If you try to change this and you put okay, so then the formula, there's going to be an error, so that's why don't change this. So yeah, this is very useful when you're listing universities. So that's just one very quick learning for you, a quick life Excel hack. Now let's jump to the final part of this masterclass, which, for example, I gave previously a lot of examples of tasks and members fulfilling their tasks, and how you can calculate the percentage per member per task. Like there's a lot of things you can do, and even with exchanges as well. And I want to teach you how to create a ranking. Because yeah, sometimes we just want to see who did the most tasks. Um, so it's the most simple formula you can imagine. So it's equal rank. But if you want to do a proper ranking, you're gonna have to wait for this point number 5 here, the final topic of today's masterclass, because you're gonna see the only thing that this formula does, it puts a number. So how does the formula works? Equal rank. The first thing I'm gonna put here is the thing I want to be compared. I'm in the banana line, the LC banana. So of course I want to compare the exchanges of LC banana. And then you put a comma, and then you select the entire range that you want the banana LC to be compared with. So I want the LC banana to be compared with all of this. Close. Something I'm gonna do here as well, I'm gonna lock, because this range is never gonna change. The exchanges here is gonna change, but the range is not gonna change. It's not gonna change, I mean, when I drag it down like this. So yep, I have a ranking now. It's very simple, as you can see, but it's not pretty yet, right? Because the fourth place is still showing in a first row, and the fourth place is showing the first row, but the first place is not here. But at least I know what's the ranking without having to see one by one. So it's very simple formula, and we usually use it combined with this one, which is index and match. These are actually two formulas, but most of the times we're going to be using them together. So what does this formula does? It organizes your data looking at specific cells and taking another value from another cell, but that is in the same line. So for example, if I'm looking here to banana, so I'm gonna put here, can you look at banana, and then take the exchange number. Okay, thanks. So that's what you're telling the formula to do. So pretty much the formula starts with index and brackets. Then you put the range of the value you want. I don't remember what's that. Let me think. Okay, I have the example here. The first one. Okay. So the first thing here. So I'm gonna show an example before I try to explain, because since these are two formulas that are different. Oh, here it's wrong. Index and match. So um, I'm gonna show with examples, because, for example, this formula, since it's a bit complex, this is the perfect formula. I can tell you, I don't know 100% how does it work, and for a long, like, I think today I know how does it work, but for a long time I was using it without knowing how does it work. I just realized it worked. I saw in somebody else's spreadsheet, I saw that it was working, and then I just copied to mine, and it ended up working for me as well. So I didn't care. But let me show you the example. I'm gonna be explaining this, but with the example already, so that is more clear for you. Um, so I have my ranking, the same thing that is in the previous page, and I have the LC names here, and I have the exchange names here. But this is the problem: the order of the ranking is not good. And then, okay, this table can still be here, but let's say I will make a second table which I want to show only the top 5 exchange rankings. So I just need to see the top 5. And what is important? So this rank number is going to be one of your main references. And what you can do, because you, of course, you want the first one, the rank one, to be always at first. This is not a formula. These I just typed them numbers. So what the first thing I did here, I just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I'm gonna be using these numbers as a reference. And then I'm gonna start. So the first thing I want to take the name of the LC who is in first. So I'm gonna look at whoever is in first, and I want to take the name. So I'm gonna use index, and I'm gonna select all the things. Then I'm gonna put a comma, I'm gonna put match, and I'm gonna put the number 1, because I only want to see who is the ranking 1 right now. Comma again, and I'm gonna select all the rankings here. So just one quick thing, I'm just gonna lock once again, as always. So I don't need to lock the ranking here, because I'm gonna drag down later. Okay, something happened. I know what happened. So yeah, most of the times when you see this formula, this is what you're gonna try to do, and then you're not gonna understand what is wrong. And that's the moment that I realized this. There is a final part in the formula which you need to add a comma and a zero, or it can be a 1 or it can be a minus 1. So to be honest, when I started using this formula, I didn't know what was this for, but I was putting there because whenever I put, like, see here, if I put comma 0, it works. So it shows exactly my LC ranking 1. See the LC name, just the LC name for now. And I didn't really know what was the 0 for. So I don't know. Yeah, just in case, you can always just put comma 0. But if you want to learn actually like everything that it means, I put here the explanation. So basically, like, the 0 means that you want to match the value needs to be exactly like. If you put 1, means the value needs to be smaller than. And if you put minus 1, the value needs to be greater than. So for example, if I put here, I'm trying to match with the number 1, right? So if here in the end I put minus 1, it's gonna be looking for all the names that are bigger than 1. But anyway, this is not important. Always keep like comma 0, and your formula is gonna work, and it's gonna be like magic. And I can drag. So first step done, but I still don't have the exchange numbers here. I have the names, so I know that number 1 is the pear LC, number 2 is the bitch, number 3 is the dame, number 4 is the banana, number 5 is the apple. So as you can see, it's correct. But let me add the exchanges as well. So how are you gonna do it? You're gonna do the exact same formula, but instead of looking at the LC names, you're gonna look at the exchanges. So index again, and then I'm gonna be looking at the exchanges, comma, match, open brackets again. I want to see so yeah, here you can do either by the LC name or by the ranking. I'm gonna do by the ranking because it's better. Oh, I forgot, this is not the first thing, right? So the first thing, I want to select the ranking, so I want to know who's in the ranking 1. And now I put a comma, and now I'm gonna select the range of the rankings and close brackets. Let me just lock, 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 lock. Again, I don't need to lock the rank 1 because I want to drag it down. Oh, I forgot again. So comma 0, and there you go. So why is this useful? Because sometimes in this example, it looks like it's very simple, right? But sometimes the numbers, they are changing. So imagine if you're taking the numbers directly from expa and the numbers update every day. So this means that even if this number changes, if this LC suddenly do 900, like, keep your eyes here, keep your eyes here, you're gonna see this is changing accordingly. See, everything is changing automatically. And 5,000. See, so yep. So you can still have this. Sometimes what I do in my spreadsheets, what I do on the rankings on the VX tracker, I just hide this part. So I just come here and I hide this, because to be honest, people don't need to know this. Because here it's completely out of order, like the rankings are in a very different order, and yeah, people don't really need to look at that. People need to look at this. So I guess that's it. I don't know how long was this. I think it was very fast. But don't worry, I'm gonna be recording another video later. So thank you so much for watching. Again, just a final reminder. So on 28th of April at 7 p.m. I'm gonna be booking, and I'm gonna update you via email and also via the WhatsApp group. So in case you didn't join the WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group. It's on the email that I sent you that you found this video. So join the WhatsApp group because we're having some cool communication there. And basically on 28th, what's gonna happen? We're just gonna gather together to interact. So the last time, what was it? It was 20. Yeah, so it was pretty much a workshop. So last time, like we had a check-in. I and before the workshop started, I only had these two tabs: the check-in and the data tab. And then what I asked people to do, I asked everyone to create your own tab with your name and have fun with the data. So to try out some different formulas, and people were doing different things. See, like they were analyzing that data, they were using the formulas. There's a lot of formulas here. So yeah, I think it's cool if you join this space. It's basically only for the interaction part. uh, and that's it's also okay if you cannot join, but that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and yep, see you soon.